do you find that your line one research has been refined now, or is more specific now that you're more tapped into being a projector, now that you are more tapped into what you feel good about being recognized for? Like, how does
Yeah,
that all work
definitely.
together?
It's definitely led by my own deconditioning journey and what has been most useful to me, and like investigating techniques and areas of research that are most fruitful. So for me personally, it was regulating my endocrine system, regulating my nervous system, doing brain dumps to get all that line one chitter chatter out. Like I feel like the insecurities of the line one, like the deeply conditioned line one, like I needed to journal. I needed to like get it all out. So yeah, and then really refining in and being like nervous system regulation, polyvagal theory, like going deep, deep, deep into a couple of areas that have value for my clients has become a pattern for sure.
Awesome. Just before we go to you, Sammy, I just wanted to read this comment by Brigitte, Brigitte Knight. Hey, Brigitte. Um, Line ones look really sad if I ever try to slow them down, or if I say, we're going to get to that later. I've learned just to let them run free.
Can I jump in on that?
Yes, and then we'll go to Sammy.
As Karen was talking, it's like, yeah, I think one of the biggest things when it comes to just linking it back to business, what we're talking about now, working with clients, whether it's a coaching trajectory or a reading or the trilogy or even the Akashic healing that I do, you can immediately pinpoint a client with a one line or a 48 or a one line with a 48. Because I'll ask them, write down any questions that you have, and they'll just have like loads of questions. And just to learn to understand that, to allow, to have grace for them, because so often, me too, I felt in whether it's in studies or whatever, in school even, like I felt like stupid for asking all these questions. And so on the one hand, I have this curiosity. On the other hand, I have this, what Sammy mentioned, this insecurity, especially when I was younger, around not knowing enough or not knowing what I think I should be knowing, and just feeling stupid, especially with an open head and Ajna. and so allowing the grace for my clients to really feel seen and heard in their questions and not be dismissed. And like you said as well, like, not saying, oh, I'll get back to that later or something like that, but really being there present to their, need to understand and be heard and seen.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. I can relate. I was very much shut down when I started finding my voice and asking a lot of questions growing up. And now I'll ask questions and I'm totally unapologetic. It's like, and if you, like in adult classes, and I'm thinking, and if you have a problem with it, you're not a good instructor. That's always been my thought. It's like, I'm here to learn. Feed my line one. Feed it, please. Feed my line one. Sammy, go ahead about your experience at line one and in relation to your business.
Sure. But just to add on to what you said though too, I have actually noticed that people, when we are just that investigator and we ask all those questions, people, one, probably already wanted to ask those questions, and two, I think people tend to see that we can just stand in who we are, and I think that can be very empowering for other people too. Because I know I always love whenever I can like pick out someone who's a line one. I'm like, yeah, they're doing their thing. So for me, it was a little bit different of a story because, I mean, I always like to say that I went through a lot. Like I struggled so much, like really young, so that I could get, to a point where I have a business at 25. And I think like I needed to do the spirit, like I said, I started meditating. I had no idea what human design even was. I did not have a business degree. Okay, I was going to be in psychology and criminology. Talk about like how you guys were saying that. Like I always wanted to help people, but it was like I wanted to figure out why people hurt, like, why they had mental health issues or all this stuff, but I never could understand how to really integrate that. And then I just started meditating and just decided this is what I need to do. So I made my company called Beyond Body Images to spread awareness about body image. So completely different than human design. And then somehow I found it and just studied it fully for a year. I actually did like a couple different courses and then came back to Karen's because I feel like she's like, you know, the community is like the home there, you know, and somehow it just has fully integrated itself beautifully, like I could have never imagined. So I'm able to work on a board here in St. Louis and talk to kids about eating disorders, and I'm able to integrate human design in aspects like that. And a lot of my clients are people who struggle with mental health. Like they just kind of, I feel like me being like an advocate for that kind of allows people to come to someone where I can try and focus on how to unblock them in that area, or how can I help someone focus on the beauty of all that you are, instead of, you know, I hate this part of myself, or I don't like this part of my chart. Because like I feel like so many times when people run their charts, they're like disappointed. And I hate that, because I feel like everyone's just so beautiful. And so I think a big part of why I'm here is to continue to have this unbiased like aspect when I do human design charts. Like I think everyone deserves to feel like their chart is equal, and that it's unique and beautiful to them. And so just staying in that integrity and like in my principles in that is really, really important. But as far as like the investigator part, honestly, I think that's when I go a little bit more into my 5 line, because I kind of just I'm willing to allow any opportunity to come my way, and I don't want to get stuck in something. And that's why I love human design, because you're always allowed to investigate other avenues with your business. You can make there's so many different things that you can do, different courses, different everything. And so I'm just enjoying the journey, and I'm really excited to see, you know, what's going to be like in 10, 20 years. You know, I'm just enjoying the journey.
Awesome. Awesome. And I just had to giggle a bit when you talked about, you know, your criminology sort of path for studying. I'm like, there's a surprise, right? Line 1 and like, especially with line 5. Yeah, I could totally see it.
Yeah, I wanted to be like a profiler for the FBI, and I honestly still think I would have been the best. So they missed out, but it's fine.
For me, it's kind of funny because one of the things I do when I do one-to-one readings, and I really love sort of highlighting people's natural talents and gifts and genius, like in their chart, and especially how they can bring that, and you know how that would show up in work and business specifically, and how they could bring that into business. And I tell them now, like at the beginning, and I probably should even put it on my webpage, like I'm very detailed. Like I'm a line 1, I go to the details. And I remember when I got my foundation reading, I think it makes a lot of sense in a way for people to be like, you know, we like kind of go through the basics, right? And my other rationale is, yeah, but the basics can be found easily. It's just all the other stuff, right? So, and yes, the other stuff can be brain candy if you don't have strategy and authority anchored in. But what I tell people is I say, look, you know, I'm going to do a reading. I encourage you to listen. If you have a question, you know, write it or ask it. That's fine. I'm happy to answer it. But I said, please, I encourage you not to take notes. I don't want to distract you from the information. You're going to get the recording, and then you can go deeper. And if you have follow-up questions, go for it. And the reason why is because, like I said, and I tell them, like, I do the details. And it's like, if I have a line 1, they were like, yes, yeah, give me the details. Give me the details. I want the details, right? And it's hilarious. Like, it's absolutely hilarious. I have all these line 1s, like, I'm so excited for the details. I want to know all about me, right? You know, the rabbit hole of me. And it's funny, but I also find sometimes I do have those conflicts because I want to go so deep on information that like I'll have some sort of vision for a program that like I'm still building 6 months or a year later, like through, and I know not to spend too much time on it. Like I'll grab some information, put it in my swipe file to build it, you know, but I can go so deep that it actually becomes a detriment, right? Because like it's never done, it's never finished, it's never fully investigated. And eventually you just got to be like, I got to cut it off like somewhere. I just have to stop.
Yeah, that's when I feel like
enough.
It's almost like you kept saying those, but in my mind, I kept thinking like, it's never good enough. That's like a big thing for me of being like, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And then that's when, you know, Debbie and I have said them multiple times today of just, you just got to do it. You just got to say, whatever, you know, we're more than just our chart. So we got to kind of take ourselves out of that sometimes and just be like, I'm going to do this because I want to. And I will say that I love that yeah, like talking to other line ones, you guys also go a little bit into detail during charts. And so even if I'm doing a foundation, I always at least like to tell them like their channels and stuff. Because I also think like, if you are, and this is really talking to projectors, like it hits you hard and you have to be able to have that space to hold that for them. And so I feel like giving them something that's encouraging, something that's unique and beautiful to them, like it always sparks this like, oh my God, like they get like really excited about it. And I think it's like good to show that if you know you're way more than just your type and your authority and even your profile. I mean, you are. I mean, even just down to the gates and the way, you know, and then we have society and the way that we grew up too. So it's just I feel like it's really important, like that line ones always kind of keep that part of human design alive, that like we're all unique and kind of go into those details.
Absolutely. Like to me, it's also like, I want to be comprehensive, but like at what point do you sort of cut off comprehensive? Because that could be an eternal, you know, or as the comment was, thorough, right? You're like, oh, I want to be thorough. I want to, you know, but at the same time, you're like, yes. But I also realize my line one gives me an allergy to superficiality. And it's always like, I don't want to just give a little bit. Like, Karen, I just saw your face, your mouth drop.
I literally, like, superficiality is like it makes, I want to spit that out. Like that's one of my deeper fears too, as like a line one. Like I never, yeah. And it's totally like, it's a 1-4 thing too. It's like, I don't want to be seen as being superficial and I don't want to be superficial. Like, I don't want to deliver that. Like it's a poor product almost, you know, like if I'm not, it's a quality of thoroughness. And to me, like there's a completion to the correct amount of detail, right? Like for me, there's like a baseline of information that is necessary for this product to be worth money. And the thoroughness and the superficiality, like those words hit me hard, really resonate.
Yeah. Debbie, did you have anything to add? Oh, you are on mute.
Sorry, manifesting generator. Oh, what a great excuse. Sometimes you could just use it as such a great excuse as well. Like, well, I'm a manifesting generator. No, just saying that need for or that allergy to superficiality, you know, and I just thinking about just the need to also have like deep and meaningful conversations. I know that's not, you know, that's everyone. But I'm kind of wondering if that's especially true for people with a one line, to be able to spar with someone who's willing and as eager to go down rabbit holes with you. Like, let's dive into this rabbit hole together. And like, really what we're doing now. Like this, I love this. My one line is really, really good right now.
Me too. I was just about to ask you guys right after, like, do you feel like small talk is kind of like,
that was my question.
Right.
Like, yeah. I'm just like, I can't, like, I literally will tell people who I'm like, because I keep my close knit of people who just know me, and I'll be like, I can't be fake. It feels like I'm being fake and I can't do it anymore. I literally cannot. I have no capacity for it anymore. And it's like, it sounds like I feel like a bad person, but it's like, it's not, I don't even know. I can't even remember the last time I've had a superficial conversation that lasted longer than a couple minutes. And it's not that I was rooting. It's just like, I feel like people just don't come up to me as much as maybe it was like before. Cause I feel like your aura says a lot too. And I think maybe you're like, oh, if I go to that person, they're going to get deep. Like they're going to get deep. Usually the people that come up to me and start telling me their whole life story. And then I'm like, oh my God.
So, you have the 13 as well. Cause I have that experience. People share.
That's just being a 5-1. Yeah.
No, that's 5. Yeah. But
yeah. And that's where the
5-1 with 13.
Oh yeah. It's
all the secrets. All the secrets.
The 5-1. Yeah. No, people, there was actually a point, I think this is like one of the biggest wake up calls, is right after I started meditating, where I went to my hometown and I was literally, there was someone who just went outside with me and I had never met this person. And then just started blurting out his entire story. And I was like, this happens to me a lot. And then that's when I was like, I don't like that. And then that was like the first time I chose, I'm like, I'm going to go back. I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is too much information. I've had people say I'm like their savior. And that's like where the whole 5-1 thing comes in. And it's uncomfortable. It's incredibly uncomfortable because I don't like that. That's not an ego boost for me. That just makes me feel like icky. Like it doesn't make me, I don't want, you know what I mean? Like it just feels weird, and it definitely feels superficial at the same time as well. And I feel like people are not seeing me. And so I totally relate to what like that, Debbie, because that is, I think, why I say that the line 1 is my safety, because I think that by allowing myself time and patience and allowing people to see me for who I am, allowing my work to be seen for what it is, that's when like the right people come.